Something feels amiss about all of this. I mean, the Judicator seems honest enough, but this Appion fellow, something unsettling about it, but I take it we have no choice but to do what they want us to. At least now I will get a chance to prove my loyalty, to prove a chance for retribution, I guess. I can't believe Carlo and Pig, oh sweet Pig, I can't believe they didn't turn their backs on me. And I'm grateful for a new chance. I'm gonna prove loyalties have shifted, but to them I will be true. Could all of this have something to do with with the others, with my friends? The Aisha or Ainid and Althea and all of them. It sounds far-fetched, but still. And this lost emissary? How is that even possible? May the icons guide us in this strange path we're about to take. This is Red Moon Roleplaying.
Do you all remember where we left off?
We were about to go and investigate the last known whereabouts of the emissary.
Yes, and I believe we were all sort of gathered by the airlock to take a shuttle off to somewhere.
Yes, the Abara. And you know this, all of you, that Abara is a very, very posh, very high upper class session in the Spire. It's not many people living there, just the rich and the famous. And actually it's like a dome, so it has its own climate. None of you have ever been there, but you heard about it, you've seen it on the vids, you read a fair bit about it in the bulletin news flashes, but also, Farouk, you may come across some filthy novel with the theme of the Abara floor. And this is a gated session of Coriolis, but the Judicator Akuba gave you clearance, do you remember? And the shuttle that you are in is heading for this very, very private section of Coriolis. You will be there in half an hour maybe. Do you want to prepare yourself in some way before you enter? You also got a key card from the Judicator that gives you access not only to this section, but also to the last known whereabouts of the emissary.
I think I'm pretty well set, to be honest. I make sure I've got my weaponry on myself. I make sure I've got my security tablets. I'm quite eager just to get going. As far as I'm concerned, this whole venture is just a long distraction till we hopefully find where my sister is, get her out of the situation, and then get on with our lives.
Well, this is pretty fucked up right here, I say, as I squeeze out a bit of hand lotion on my hand and start rubbing them together. We're going into the Abara section. Sent by some Judicator to I mean, guys, come on, what's going on? It's pretty funny, isn't it?
I suppose you could say that, Pig. I suppose you could call it funny. I call it irritating. What do you say, Captain?
Well, it might be that we were meant to be here. And this is where we're supposed to go.
Yeah. It's like, it's like the icons are guiding us. That's what I felt too.
I sigh a little at this, rolling my eyes, and say, Farouk, you're not going to get even more spiritual on me, are you?
No. I don't know whose hand is to blame for this. The icons, or the dark between the stars, or even the Judicators. But it still seems... Well, I don't think there would have been any way around this. Do you?
Nah. I mean, it was that or the cell. Or just, What is funny though, I suppose that is what kind of ties it all together, is that we were starting to look for these people just to free your sister, Carlo. If it hadn't been for that, and I suppose your condition, and I look sideways at the captain, I suppose we wouldn't have had much to do with these people that seem to be the ones also having abducted the emissary, I say, with a sort of crinkling my nose up, as if I had just said a filthy word.
I suppose you have a point, Pig. Still, what can we do? The way I see it, we go in, we try and just find this information they want quickly, quietly. At least we have access and don't need to worry about security, so hopefully this will be a piece of pie.
Yeah. That reminds me, I'm a little bit hungry. We better check the fridge first. You don't think that was funny? Checking the fridge? Maybe someone chopped him up and put him in the fridge. That's kind of funny.
I smirk a little at Pig and say, yes, I suppose you could find that funny, yes. Anyway, come on, let's get going.
The shuttle floats through space, through the darkness, until you reach the shuttle bay at the Abara floor. With a the airlocks opened, and you pass through the first airlock and through the second one. Almost immediately you feel that the climate changed. You entering some kind of artificial biodome, and you can hear in the second airlock sound of nature, birds. Is it a nightingale? And crickets. When you pass the second airlock, you enter an artificial biodome, which it's a lake actually. And around the lake there are small estates surrounded by orchards, knit together with paths of Myrian marble and Cedalian granite archways.
I look around. Is there any sign of technology in this, or does it all just sort of completely melt together?
It's completely melts together. You can see it's nighttime, or at least it's an artificial nighttime. But if you look real close at the sky, you can see that this is some kind of holographic image of maybe a Qan night. You're not sure, but you feel the air is moist, not like this Coriolian air you are used to.
Is it more like a jungle kind of moist? Or not that moist?
A jungle, definitely feels like a Qan night, but not an intense night, one of the better ones.
I feel very at home, but I don't say this. I look around, and yes, surprising.
I kinda feel your vibe of feeling at home, and I kinda feel it too, in a way. Coming from a jungle planet myself, it's not as completely as humid as it would be where I'm from, but it's still... I kind of feel there's something from Carlo here, a connection, unspoken. And I have my upper arms out and the other one's covered under the blue kaftan. And my upper left hand is clutching the strap of the case of the accelerator rifle that I'm now carrying slung over my back. No longer scared of getting stuck in some kind of control, someone checking a license. Yeah, this feels good.
You are entering the Abara section at what could be called the South airlock. Actually, it's probably not the South because there's no North and South in space, right? But the way the star moves in the artificial sky and the way the moon, there's an artificial moon here as well, turns, it's definitely the South section. And Abara is not just the place, the 96th floor of the spire. It's also this artificial lake that is more or less taking 75, maybe 80% of this section. And all the buildings is surrounding it, all the residents of different people. And you know this, that the Emissary's residence is very close to the south entrance. You can see it actually when you look up on a small hill, a very beautiful white alabaster house with a onion-shaped roof.
Well, I'd love to take in the night air, but something tells me we need to be on our way. Come on now, let's get this done with. I don't want people wondering who these random free people are walking about. I seem a little apprehensive on that last part. Quite keen, it seems, to not be seen.
The trick is to actually act like you belong here. Then they won't notice you at all.
This section, the 96th floor of the spire, will probably, if you're doing some calculating, it would probably fill up 500,000, maybe 600,000 residents of the Coriolian station. But here probably now lives around 20 or 25 families in these different houses. So the distance between the different residents are maybe 2 or 3 kilometers, 1 or 2 kilometers.
It's certainly a very nice home. I wonder why an emissary needs so many rooms. I mean, I understand one of us needing a luxurious manor, but aren't they supposed to be the icons themselves?
Well, I suppose if I was offered it, Nah. What a waste of space.
Are you moving towards the onion-shaped roof house?
Yes.
Yes, passing by the ornated Sedalian granite archways. through the small paths. The Qun winds the trees. You can feel the breeze playing its song in the leaves as you move towards the emissary's residence. And you are at the gateway. It has a small gateway with a wooden Qun. This wood must be Qun. You are certain of it, Carlo. It's a Qun wooden door that's is closed, but it's not locked. It's just closed.
Wonderful. I look to Farouk and I say, "Should I open the door, Captain?"
By all means.
And I push open the door.
With a squeak, it opens. You can all roll observation.
Two successes.
Nope.
No successes.
It's dark in here. But Carlo, you can definitely, through your training, identify that something is wrong. You can see stains of blood on the floor, but also you can see some cracks in the floor.
Cracks in the floor. First of all, I look around and see, is there any way of turning on the lights or a power system or something? We can't conduct an investigation in the dark, after all.
No, you can't. But yes, and it's all voice control, of course.
Ah, good. I notice the system and simply say, "Lights on."
As you say the words, the light flickers on with a quite warm, not artificial light. It feels like it's it's designed to give some kind of candle light, but this is definitely electricity, but it gives a very, very warm, cozy light. But what you don't feel cozy. Actually, all of you see the stains of blood in the hallway. You also, Farouk and Pig, see the cracks in the floor, the marble floor.
Ooh, messy, I say, and I start going in.
My face actually turns a bit pale at the sight of the blood and the mess, and I hesitate for a second before I follow my friends into the room.
You're in a hallway. It's actually quite long. It's 7 meters. And after at the end of the hallway, you can see that there's some form of sitting room or something that stretches out at your left side. And you can see that this sitting room something has happened here. Something has taken place, and you know that it isn't something good.
I notice Farouk heading to the sitting room, and I start looking around for any signs of a computer, a security camera, anything that maybe we can access to get a bit more information than just classic sleuthing.
Of course, there's a security panel at your right side. It's covered behind a plate, a marble plate in the wall. But you recognize it, and it's a classical design choice. That you press the plate and the security tablet comes out to you, so you can press it or interact with it.
Very stylish. Pig, I'm gonna have a look and see if I can see anything on the cameras or the security feeds. And I walk over, attempt to hook my little security tablet to the main security panel, and I'm gonna try and access the security systems.
Sounds good. I start looking around. I look at the blood and try to see if there's anything else that's been torn off, or if I can just sort of determine what these cracks are coming from. What could have made those?
Actually, the cracks are... I would take you first, Pig. The cracks are... You only notice them at the entrance of the residence, around the main entrance, and it's cracks in the wall, in the floor, but also some in the lower side of both walls leading out. And you can roll observation roll.
I get 1 success.
Yeah, and you can see that there's... When you follow the cracks in the floor, you can see that they start in the residence, but they are going out in the pathway in the front of the residence. And there's a wall in the garden, a small, quite low wall in the garden, and you can see blood stain on that wall as well. It's like a garden wall. If you visualize it as like a Zen garden, a Japanese garden.
I see that. And I try to follow this track of blood as far as I can.
Do you think that something hit that wall that caused the spray of blood on the wall?
Someone was thrown over there, maybe the cracks is some kind of impact. Maybe someone's thrown both ways or along those cracks. I try to see if there's any patterns leading away from it. If someone was hit into the wall, is a sign. Did anyone drop something there when they were hitting the wall? If someone hit the wall, try to look at the floor and around it.
Actually, you're at the house entrance when you do this investigation, and you can see when you look through around the garden wall, you can see that blood have splattered over the wall at the other side. All these residents has some kind of lower wall around them. And you can see that blood has splattered over the wall.
Okay, so I go around and I look on the other side.
Yeah. And you can you roll an observation roll?
Yeah.
Do you have anything? Do you have a flashlight? Do you use any tools or something to?
I mean, I got my tools, but I don't know if I have any specific flashlight. Only the one that's probably attached to the rifle. Well, I mean, I don't know if everyone goes around with that.
You can have it on your communicator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The communicator has a torch. It's a level 2 communicator after all.
Yeah.
It's got some finesse.
Of course.
So I do use that to light my way around. Did you want me to roll another one?
Yeah, you can do it with a +1.
+1. Nah, no successes.
As I said before, there has been blood splatter over the wall. So you have some medicurgy skills, right?
Yeah.
Probably, if you are reimagining what's happened, you think that someone has been thrown, but with a great force through the main entrance, and the trajectory stopped at the garden wall, and with that amount of blood, the one who was thrown through the entrance probably cracked his head or something, because there's quite a lot of blood, and it splashed over the wall and into the bushes on the other side. You can see blood stains on the leaves and even in the ground, or underground, in the grass.
But no trace of a person or anything that around there then? On the other side, I mean.
No.
Well, I look around a bit more before I start heading back in again.
You don't find anything out of the ordinary. Sorry. Carlo.
Yes.
You were looking through the security terminal?
Correct.
Actually, it's a normal interface, and it's a security system with motion detectors and cameras covering the path outside. And the alarm is turned off.
Interesting. So there are no cameras for the interior of the house?
No.
I look a little annoyed about that. Also, I dare say I was a little curious. I'll have to make do with what I have then, and I will try and access the outside cameras and see if I can get any feeds at all. When were the last recorded feeds?
Yes, the last recorded feeds was from earlier this night, because the last feed you can see there's a visitor going towards the entrance, and our let is entering the building as if he, because you think it's a he, was invited. Do you have culture?
I do not.
Roll an observation -1.
1 success.
Good. You recognize this man? Of course you recognize this man. It's Judicator Kosha, the Zenithian Homogenes ambassador at the council.
I blink a little because yes, I do recognize this man.
And he is traveling without any security attachment. They almost do always.
That is very unusual.
Yes.
This was literally just last night.
Yeah, probably earlier tonight.
I zoom in on the footage. What does it appear they're doing? They are outside, and then what?
Judicator Kosha is actually walking towards the gate, the front door, opens it and enters. Some seconds later, the vid stops, and there is no more recording.
That is very suspicious. I think to myself. Very suspicious indeed. What do I know about this man? Obviously, I know he is the main ambassador for the hegemony, as well as, of course, a Kosha. I'm very familiar with that family. But do I actually know anything about the man himself?
For being a Kosha, he is quite low profile. He has had some trouble with his ambassador period because he has to balance the Neo-Zenithians against the old families. But the bulletin says that he's doing quite a good job, actually. But he has to... His internal struggle within the Zenithians has made him look weak in the council against the consortium and even the other factions. So the internal struggle for the Zenithians at the moment is taking its toll in the bigger political game.
I can imagine, after all, even in his own family, there are probably those who want nothing to do with the Neo-Zenithians.
Yeah, and those who will.
It's a tricky political game between the hegemonists and the Neo-Zenithians. Still. What? When did the Emissary go missing again? The Emissary's been missing for longer than just a day, no?
No, just a couple of hours. You got the news. You got the news from the woods. You should say 3 or 4 hours ago, and the Judicator said that they had known it for like 1 hour before. And this footage was taken 6 hours ago.
This is very, very convenient. I'm going to zoom back a little more. What was the last visit before this one, then? What was the rest of the day? Or evening?
Nothing. You can actually go back the whole day. And the last one that is left and come back is the Emissary with his or her blue and silk robes. As you all know, you don't know if the Emissary is a man or a woman because you never seen its face or even something other than the robes.
Fascinating. I zoom in a little because I've never even seen, and well, other than perhaps I suppose on some videos they'll have made an appearance, but that's very formal. This is one simply going to its home. What does it look like? What's it doing?
It's almost like with such grace you can see the Emissary walk through the garden and out in the street in down to the south airlock, and it's perfection in the movements. It's almost like it is walking 1 or 2 centimeters above ground, like it's floating with such grace.
I am generally interested for a moment before remembering what I'm actually here to do. Farouk! Pig! Pig, what are you doing? Have you found anything out there? You might want to come and look at this.
As I'm finishing up outside, I come in and I say, yeah, well, I just find some, well, it seems like someone's been flung. You see these cracks here? And I point in the hallway. Seems like some sort of eruption of force. And then out there was bloodstains, as if someone had been thrown from in here all the way over there to hit the wall. Huge spray of blood over in the bushes too.
What about you, Captain? You seen anything unusual?
I don't know. Have I?
Yes,
I stepped into the seating area or the living room.
yes, and the sitting room it's a bloodbath. There are blood everywhere, on the floor, on the walls, even in the ceiling, on the nomad carpets, on the books. Actually, you are not so familiar with physical books, but actually there's a lot of books here, but codex and as well as manuscripts and papyrus rolls. Also some kind of, you think that's old recording tapes? You never see, this is old artifacts from a time never spoken of. You can roll an observation roll. I should say that this room is probably one of the largest in the residence, and it takes up for certain half of the residence. It's a huge room with windows facing this artificial lake, and you can see the moon that is casting its light over the lake, and it makes the room bathe in this bluish light, even that there are some warmth from the artificial light in here that Carlos illuminated when he asked the artificial intelligence in the room to do this.
I'm overwhelmed by the bloodbath, the massacre in the room. Just unable to move, to actually do anything. The sharp smell of metallic blood is kind of strong to me, and I feel queasy. It kind of awakens a memory long hidden, it awakens hidden memories, and I just grasp to keep sanity close. I think I spend too much time just standing in silence in the blood-covered room before I actually just back out slowly until I reach the corridor again, or the hallway again, and I turn slowly to my friends, even paler by now. Do you think an icon could bleed?
That is an interesting question, isn't it?
What? What's wrong? You look all pale. And I sort of squeeze by you to get into the hall you just came from.
I steady myself against the wall.
I see the carnage in there. Is it just blood, or is the trails of other things like skin, organs, gore?
You can roll a medicurgy roll.
All right. Get one success.
You don't see any organs, but definitely you realize that it will all this blood is not from the same person.
I hold my hand up to my nose. Holy crap! Hey, look at this, Carlo. This is like I was gonna say something stupid, Carlo. You better go have a look at this.
Well, hang on, I'm doing something, but... Alright, hang on. I'll come back to this in a minute. and I turn off the video screen for now, and I will follow Pig in, and I'll look around this scene of carnage, and the thing that confuses me most is, where did all this blood come from? Surely there's enough blood here for multiple people. Did the Icon have staff? Security guards? Did she kill the security guards or the assailants?
You mean the Emissary?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, all I found outside was blood as well. It's just either someone was cleaning up afterwards, as far as bodies go, or, yeah, they disintegrated. But I don't know a weapon that does that.
Did the Judicator say anything about dead bodies?
No, not that I remember.
Well, come and have a look at this, and I'll lead them to the security screen, bring up the footage of Jungevall Kosha, and say, well, Captain, recognize this individual? I'd have thought you would.
Yes.
You do.
Yes. That is a familiar face, but what is he doing here?
Apparently visiting shortly before lots of people explode in blood.
I seen him on the news. He's the ambassador for something.
He is one of the main ambassadors of the Kosha family, Pig. One of the leading families, the leading family, in fact, of the Zenithian hegemony.
The biggest Zenithian craps of them all, then.
I give you a sort of look and go, you could say that, yes.
And when was this?
This was literally 5-6 hours ago, I'd say.
5-6 hours. And when did they discover that the emissary was missing?
I'd say about 5-6 hours ago.
So kind of a watch then. Do you remember when the Judicator said they'd noticed that, well, emissary gone missing?
Possibly half that time. But the security feed cuts out from this point, implying that someone shut the footage off around this moment.
So there's no footage of him exiting the residence?
No. Of course, the question now is, how much of a lead is this? Something tells me seeing Jungevall Kosha for a quick chat isn't going to be something we can arrange. Well, I suppose we couldn't arrange it.
Yeah, no, but yeah, we got people who would be able to. I think we could have a chat with him.
Could you zoom in on his face? How does he look when he gets here? Is he upset, or is he elated, or what's his kind of general mood?
I shall do as the captain says and zoom in on his face.
Enhance.
I'm not really sure if things are better or worse. Not being arrested is always a good thing. Having to work for a Judicator, less so. There are important people, these Judicators. I don't really want to be around important people right now. Doesn't seem like I have a choice, though. An emissary is missing. Somehow it might be connected with my sister also being missing. What are the odds? Damn it. I need to find my sister. And so for now, I need an errand boy for the Judicators. How an emissary could be kidnapped makes no sense to me anyway. They're supposed to be the living icons, after all. Guess they're not as untouchable as people have made it seem. All I can do is work with the captain and Pig and see if we can get this all over with quickly. I need to get my sister out of this mess. And then get myself out of Coriolis. This is Red Moon role-playing.
You definitely see that he looks stressed. You can see sweat on his forehead. This very good-looking Zenithian with his black hair in a straight and hard ponytail, and with his golden makeup, very common in the Zenitian higher upper class families, especially the older families.
Well, isn't he pretty?
Well, if you ask me, the makeup's slightly off.
Yeah, maybe he was in a hurry.
Or got it smudged somewhere along the way. If we find that Judicator Kosha is missing, then I would say that's a solid lead to something.
Yeah, that's, yeah. We need to see if he's missing as well. That's a good call. I go to try and find something to eat.
You do reckon that, do you remembering that the journalists, the bulletin journalists, said that they realized that the emissary were missing when he didn't show up for the council meeting? That would take that everybody else showed up.
Yes, that thought goes through my mind. I back away now from the security console. And then I go back to it, actually. Does it, by any chance, have a schematic of the building? I'm curious on the location of perhaps a few rooms, and I don't really feel we have time to be going around every single room of this quite large estate.
This large residence only has 3 rooms. This is the main one, the main one that you was in a couple of minutes ago, and there's some kind of dining room, or maybe it's a kitchen. You don't really know, and there's a bathroom and there's a bedroom. But you have to pass through the sitting room to enter all these.
Well, I'm going to try heading to this bedroom. I turn to Farouk and say, alright, let's see if our emissary keeps anything in their bedside cupboard.
I follow close by.
And Pig, I should say, when you looked at the blood and did a Mediterranean roll, you realized that there are one bigger pile of blood in the center of the sitting room, actually on the prayer rug that is placed in the center, but also there's are smaller piles, small pools of blood around this bigger pool. But you can also see that someone has been dragged through the corridor.
Out from here into the hallway.
Yeah, into the hallway and outside. So, but in the hallway and all in the front garden in front of the house, there have been maybe some kind of cleanup. Not a good one when you're following the blood trail.
How far can I follow it if it's a bad cleanup? Does it go to, let's say, this is somewhere where a shuttle or something can pick someone up? I mean, if they go into all the public spaces.
If you go out in the street, you can try to track it using the survival skill.
Well, don't want to go too far from where the others were. In the dining room, was there any food out there? Any dates or something?
You go through the main hall of the corridor, and you enter the sitting room. Then you take a left again, and then you enter a kitchen alcove, and you can see your friends. Farouk and Carlo is entering the bedroom from there. But when you, hungry as you are, of course, when you look through the kitchen alcove, you realize there's nothing here. No food at all.
No food? What are these things? Or people or whatever? So I've been sort of pacing a bit back and forth, starting to follow the blood trail out first, then coming back in looking for food. There's no food here. I go back into the sitting room and I look at this big sort of stain of blood, and I think to myself, what was it again? This was the emissary claiming to be the judge, wasn't it? The one that's been abducted, or whatever happened. And I stopped there, and is there any space I can sit down was not bloody?
Actually, you can go towards the windows, and there's here at it should probably be the south side of the room. There isn't any sign of struggle. To the south side of the sitting room, there's some big windows facing the artificial lake, and you can sit in them. And here it hasn't been any sign of struggle here. But do you sit down, Pig?
I go there to sit down because I want to send a prayer to what I think is the real judge and ask him for guidance and how we're gonna find this imposter.
You see when the moonlight hits the mosaic northern wall, it's a beautiful mosaic that shows decepting men and women descending from the ship Zenith to Kua. It's some kind of narrative history story. You see that the whole mosaic is riddled with bullet holes. Dotted with black lines pointing towards the large pool of dried blood on the floor. But you can see that there has been shooting in here, and you recognize this has to be some kind of high velocity or automatic rifle, because you have seen this kind of spraying before, as when you were a soldier in the O'Hara Wars.
Someone has been using the recoil to let their guns do a mowing kind of motion, I think to myself. And I look around. Is it only on that side? Where could I think that people that have been shooting have been standing?
Do you have the command skill?
No, I do not.
Then I have to ask you to roll an observation roll.
No, I don't get any successes. Can't make it out. It's kind of disturbing, this whole scene.
But you realize, as you've been you have treated a lot of gun wounds at the actual firefight scene, at the scene of the firefight.
Yeah.
And there's something odd here with the bullet holes. It doesn't really add up. There are some weird patterns, but you cannot wrap your head around it.
I make a mental note that there's something there, something weird. I'm gonna have to ask the other guys to have a look at that when they're finished in what they're doing. And then I sit back and I give a prayer to the judge to help me find this imposter and what happened to him.
This false icon. Farouk and Carlo, you're entering the bedroom, and it's a very nice looking bedroom with a oval shaped bed in the middle of the room, with some kind of Qan saddle, maybe some Qan wood. You don't really know what kind of tree, but there are a Qan. The floor is covered with some very, very beautiful, very good smelling Qan wood, but you can also see there are wardrobes at your left side and this very nice looking bed. Actually, when you're in this room, you don't even know if it's been used ever.
Seems a little too pristine, maybe. It's either that or someone has made sure all traces have been removed.
I start looking around the room for any sign of something a little unusual. A secret compartment, a secret panel, a place where something precious is kept. There must be something. In my search for anything secretive, I'll start with the bed and the areas nearest the bed, looking under the bed, around the bed, maybe at any side tables or things in that area.
It looks all the cupboards and under the bed. It looks unused. It's actually very strange.
I walk over to the wardrobe and open it. Are there any clothing there? Any robes or anything?
No.
I guess emissaries don't sleep or dress.
When you think about it, actually you don't recall that the emissary has worn anything else than this silk blue robe with which is covered the emissary from head to toe.
I look a bit irritated, taking a quick sweep of the floor and then tapping some of the walls near the entrance, and I just say, ugh, all this blood. How could they have cleaned up the bodies with none of this blood?
That's a very good question. That's just... I don't know if I can go back out there, Carlo. The sight is a little too overwhelming for me.
Oh, Farouk, what are we going to do about that stomach of yours, eh? I would have thought you saw worse when we personally beat people to death on that prison, remember?
Yeah, but that was... This is a little too close for comfort for me. The prison was just surviving day to day. I've done that before.
Is it the fact that this is such a pleasant establishment, and the blood here seems a little, well, out of place?
Yeah. I kind of hesitated, thinking that maybe I should tell Carlo why I'm having such hard time dealing with the situation, but I just nod and walk towards the door again.
I'll watch you for a moment and notice that reaction, and I'll simply nod myself, simply remarking, you know, sometimes it doesn't really matter where the blood's spilt. It's still blood. High class, low class, it's all the same, really.
I'm not sure I actually agree completely, because it also how you are in relation to the blood spilt, maybe.
Perhaps. I suppose I should be more concerned about it being Zenithian blood being spilled versus first-comer blood.
I think we're all the same in the eyes of the icon, whether you came here with seen it or you were here before that.
I nod, and I'll go back outside. Pig, how are we doing? Nothing in the bedroom. Barely seems used, so useless.
I open my eyes where I sat praying. Yeah, you can come in here if you want. There's something strange. Oh yeah, and there's no food here either. So either this person, this icon, has not been living here at all. I mean, this emissary. Ticks me off, this shit, you know. Either they've not been living here at all, or he's a ghost. Anyway, look at this. And I point up at the wall, to the bullet holes. There's something off about this. There's something, I can't place it. Something about how these bullet holes are placed.
I look up, and the first thing that I ask is, wait a minute, why were they firing upwards? Or at least in that direction, that seems unusual.
I don't know, maybe he's really tall. This mosaic though, it's pretty. But still, I don't know if they were firing at something in the mosaic itself, or just the person that would supposedly have stood before it. And I point down at the huge puddle of blood.
Do you have the command skill, Carlo?
No.
But I do. Actually, being the captain of the ship.
Then you can see that that you can also see it, Carlo, actually, because you're training. Definitely Vulcan shots. Vulcan shots from a Vulcan carbine with rapid fire. Someone has science?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
I could go for observation roll with a minus one.
No successes. I get distracted by watching the mosaic's story.
1 success.
Yeah, you can see that something is odd, really odd with the spray pattern. It's not just automatic fire, a rapid fire. It's actually like something made the bullets. They were firing from the hallway into the room, but because it's a straight hallway, right? But it's they haven't hit the wall in front of them, but the bullets have hit like in an arch, so they were passing through something.
And I see your face as you're starting to see something. I'm like, right, there's something off.
Okay, bear with me. Could we just... What do you think you know? Could you just put that aside for a minute? And bear with me. What if someone was standing in the room and stopped the bullets from hitting him or her?
And I look at the pattern.
Like a shield of some kind of energy, or...
Yeah, some kind of personal force field, perhaps. Something guiding them to the side. Does that make sense to me?
Yeah, and you actually heard that in research and development for different military factions as the Legion, they are researching force fields but we talk about bigger gunboats, cruisers that could actually bend space, so it will miss or go in a trajectory around them.
And who better to have access to really high technology if not the Emissary and the people up here? Yeah, that makes sense.
I let out a little sigh of frustration. Only problem is, this is all very interesting, but we need something to go on. Okay, at this point we have a theory. We have a theory that people came in, attacked the Emissary. The Emissary probably murdered them all. Fair enough. But then, somehow, they are gone, and so are all the people who attacked them.
what we got here is that people, whoever it was that came here, obviously didn't come to abduct the emissary. Obviously, this is lethal intent. Someone comes here, wants to shoot him to bits, and that's at least what we're looking for. Some kind of assassins.
I wonder if the Judicator is actually aware that Mr. Kosha was here earlier.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. You know what? Someone has done a pretty shabby job of cleaning stuff up outside. There are traces of blood in the cracks of the garden pathway. We could see if we could track it somewhere if you're up for it.
I don't see why not. What do you say, Captain? Maybe that's our last thing we do, and then maybe report in? The Judicator did give us a way of communicating with them, didn't she?
Yes, she did. But, Carlo, you get an epiphany. If there has been Vulcan shots fired, it should probably be some trace of them in the bullet holes.
I'm going to go to one of the bullet holes. Is there any that I can actually get to without having to climb or anything, or reach for the ceiling?
Yeah, and you can, it's on your, it's right side, and you can, do you have a knife, or do you have some kind of tools? But Pig has, if you don't.
Pig, you wouldn't mind helping me? We might be able to tell what kind of bullets these are if you help me, dig one out.
Ooh, good call, you bastard. And I go up and I stand next to you and I start looking into the hole and I pick up a set of pliers and pincers and trying to find something that could fit in to pull something out.
Yeah, you have some kind of, fine instruments for repairing smaller electrical parts for the Red Moon. But with these instruments you can dig out a bullet or a Vulcan shot, actually.
Alright, I do that. Is there any blood splatter on the wall at all, or does it off the mosaic, or does it, if any bullet actually passed through the emissary? I mean, if they got hit, there would be blood there on the wall, right?
Yeah, and there are blood in the. When you enter the sitting room, there are blood on the mosaic wall, as someone was shot with quite close range. But you can also see, when you see this blood splatter, you can also see at the opposite side of that blood splatter, there are blood splatter that goes from right the opposite side. So it looks like some kind of standoff that two people turned against each other, then shot each other at more or less the same time. You're not a blood splatter analyst, but if you are going through the scene in your head. But that's not the bullet that you are digging out.
No, I just noticed this as I'm watching the trajectory and how things would have flown, and I see that too on the wall. Interesting. And then I think I get a hold of it so I can pull it out.
And you definitely see that this is from a Vulcan carbine, and it looks like you used to accelerator rifles, right?
Well, I have a Vulcan pistol too that I've been working with.
But I have a Vulcan carbine.
Yeah, you can say that this is no ordinary bullet. This isn't an ordinary Vulcan bullet.
Well, this is curious. This is a bit different than what I'm used to. So I click out one of the cartridges from the magazine of my Vulcan pistol, and I look at that, and I just hold them up next to each other and try to see if there's any obvious difference between them before I get into an analysis of materials.
Yeah, you can see an obvious difference. These are, it's called vibro shots, vibro Vulcan shots, and they are absolutely noiseless.
Vibro shots. Isn't that fancy? And I hand it over to Carlo.
It's extremely fancy, pig. Alright. So whoever came for the Emissary were highly trained, very skilled individuals with access to very good weaponry. They also somehow infiltrated the whole building with no signs of forced entry. And now they're all gone.
And everything, every other trace is erased. I look around on the floor, anything around in here that stands out except the blood splatter.
Yeah, actually, if you go around the prayer rug,
Yeah.
you can see that there are, in the midst of the chaos in the sitting room, you can see there are some small bowls overturned on the floor.
What's this?
And you can, in this metallic smell, you can, if you approach it, you can feel the smell of maybe it has to be incense.
That have been turned over, or just...
Yeah, or something with another quite strong smell. You can also see small candles. And if you're used to blood because you are a magicurgi after all.
Yeah.
You can see that it looks like it's been some kind of praying ritual going on here, because there are some signs.
The candles, the incense.
The incense. You can also see it has to be some kind of wheat, maybe couscous.
As in food?
As in food, but it's all bloody and you shouldn't eat it.
Anyone? Are there signs of people having been on this side of the room, as in they were having a meeting together, or anything that stands out that could mean that the emissary wasn't alone and wasn't attacked alone on that side of the room?
No, but you can do the conclusion that maybe he or she was doing a prayer or had some kind of iconic ritual that was happening when he or she was attacked. Do you have culture?
No, I don't have culture. I think Farouk is the only one that has. I am a technologist.
As you are a technologist, you realize when you looking through these pools of blood and see this all religious traces, that there are very little technology in here.
All in all, the only bit seems to be the panel in the hallway that Carlo was playing with.
Yeah, and you standing in the midst of all this chaos, you realize that there's a lot of books, codex, rolls, scrolls, but you don't read books, scrolls, textures, scriptures. They are just placed in different churches, cathedrals, mosques for show. You all do your reading on tabulas.
So this emissary is pretty old school, I guess. I look at the others and I say, any point we start looking at these? And I lazily draw my hand over the set of books and scrolls that are on the side. Open a scroll at random.
When you start poking through these old scriptures, you realize that a lot of them have been torn in half by some kind of slashes.
Look at this, what happened here? I hand one over to Carlo.
If I had to make a guess, I guess whoever wanted to cause all these bullet holes probably doesn't like religion, or rather the icons, or the knowledge available here. I do start looking through myself, but I'm not really much of an academic sort, so there's probably not going to be anything that I recognize.
Are there any particular books that have been slashed? Or does this also indicate a bit of a fight? Or is it more like someone has been sitting down cutting these things?
It looks like it's been some kind of fight, but you really don't know, because these slashes seems like they have been done with great force and with great ferocity.
But there's no... I look at the walls then, or the furniture, there's no other sign of anything having been cleaved or so.
No.
It's just the books. Someone was really angry with the books.
Someone used them as protection?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe someone was using them as protection. Maybe throwing them and someone caught them in the air.
What kind of books is it? Is it religious books or scientific books? I'd start looking at the back of the books.
You, as you are a cultural man, raised in the courts of Dabaran, you see holy scriptures, old legends, songs from the many Third Horizons original settlers, and old nomad swarms tales. Actually, there are texts from almost all known systems and of the Third Horizon.
I don't know if the Emissary was in reverence of these old texts, or if it was actually looking for something.
You can roll a cultural roll.
4 success.
You realize that all these scriptures, all these texts, all these legends are all pre-Portal War. It's all before the Portal Wars.
Can you see the pattern, Carlo? Pig? It's all old scriptures, all ancient texts before the Portal Wars.
Before the wars?
Yeah, before the wars.
That's pretty damn old. That's even before you guys came here. And look at Carlo.
Is it? Didn't really pay attention much to history. Right, Portal Wars, yes, and before them, so they don't like that sort of thing. What does that mean, Captain?
Oh, apparently the Emissary is very fascinated about it.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Well, something important from that time. Who's got access to that kind of stuff? I don't know, the nomads? Oh, wait. Who are the ones that keep... the Draconians, right? They keep looking up all kinds of weird things.
Yeah.
Well, this is all fascinating, but... Again, for now... Maybe this is giving us motive, but not really telling us the who. Shall we try following those tracks outside?
Just 1 second. I look around the room. Are the books scattered, like someone's thrown them about, or are they all stacked in stacks and on shelves and stuff like that?
Yeah, you can see that there's been some kind of system here, that they are stacked in chronological order. That maybe the Emissary was looking for something that, or tried to put together some kind of timeline of some sort.
The Emissary is looking for something, I don't know what. Before the Portal Wars, location of, I don't know, trying to get back to the second horizon or the first horizon, I don't know.
Can I ask you something, Captain?
Sure, Pig.
I know you don't want to talk about this, and you know what I think about it, but you claim to have these kind of powers, right? I don't know if you claim it, but someone sure does claim that you have.
Yes, does it make you uneasy?
I mean, it's I don't wanna cause no trouble with you, you know. It's to me, it's just okay. Look at this. I haven't seen it. I don't know if I believe it myself. Some people say it's a disease. I don't care. I like you, you know, so I don't care. But I was wondering because, well, if you met other people that have these kind of things, you know, would anyone that you stumble upon, would any of these powers, you know, hypothetically be some kind of power that A, redirects bullets, and 2, would be able to cut things in half, like slice up these scrolls?
And throw someone into a wall?
Yeah, those kinds of things.
Well, I have seen some of them demonstrated, but not all of them, but I have heard of others.
So, this Altea, if you don't mind me saying, but she claimed that, I mean, I thought it was complete nonsense, and I also joked about it. Maybe, you know how I am, but she said that she had made an entire balcony fall down with some kind of force. I'm just saying that, or if this is all connected to different kinds of forces, I don't know, maybe.
And if the person we're looking for is actually an icon, it would probably have access to all of these powers.
That does seem logical to me, just saying.
I'm not saying it's so hard to really wrap your head around this, but
I know it's a lot of ifs and buts. Because, you know, I mean, I don't know what to believe anymore, but you tell me to keep an open mind, so I'm just trying, you know.
yeah. But yeah, it's possible. I would say it's possible.
Right. So, because, you know, the alternative thing would be that that people with these powers were the ones attacking the emissary. Just, you know, the other way around, you know, let's speculate completely wild here and say that, you know, these people that were after you, that the people that had the tattoos and stuff, what if they are, you know, they are interested in people with powers because they're building an army, you know? They are gathering these people together that they had these powers, and then they're training them or brainwashing them or something, and then because they have a purpose, you know, maybe they're making an army to take out the emissaries or something.
It's an interesting idea, Pig. The only issue I have with it being that their current modus operandi seems to be trying to kill the people who are the mystics, so it'd be strange if they were actually recruiting them in a violent fashion. Also, you seem quite surprised that these scrolls have been slashed up. You could do that with a knife very quickly.
I mean, not the books, man. You don't just cut through a book like this unless you got a really sharp blade. Now look again, is there any burn marks? Could it have been done with a mercurial sword?
If you investigate the books more closely when you talk about this, you realize it must have been done with a Dura blade.
And I see this as I'm excitedly talking to Carlo, and I'm like stopping and crap, you're right. This is probably just made with a Dura blade. And there I was all having some kind of, conspiracy theories and stuff. And I throw the book away, and then I pick up another one, and I look at that too, and I put it in my pocket, along with the little bullet that I dug out of the wall.
Then just because one part of the theory is not right doesn't mean the rest of it might be. I haven't even heard about technology that can stop bullets like that. But it is the only thing that makes sense, isn't it?
The tech is still experimental. What they got now is, huge force field generators that they're trying to use on cruisers and stuff. Nothing in the size of a portable thing. And that unleashed the Draconites, sorry, those with the access to the really weird technology stuff has.
Yeah, but still, look around this place. Do you see any technology?
Not as just did it, So, more likely some powers than anything else.
Well, time's ticking away. Let's keep looking around a bit, but I'm gonna quickly contact our dear friend and tell her what we found so far. Maybe she can give us a additional lead. And
can we go for a walk while we do that? And I'm gonna see if I can track this blood trail.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I will help.
Yes, Carlo, before you leave, you said that you were going back to the surveillance tapes. Are you...
Yes.
Are you going to do something more about...
Well, actually, yes. As I'm passing by, I just check again. The only camera was for the front door, yes?
Yeah. But you can always try to go into the back end and see what's the logs and see what's happened, really.
Yes, I'd like to do that. Also, I'd like to see if there's any information on possibly a visitor log or any evidence that maybe people work here, that sort of thing.
Do you explain this to us while you're suddenly stopping and doing something on it? Okay, then I say, oh yeah. If someone has deleted the surveillance types, I know you're really good with that stuff. Maybe you can find some kind of trace of who did it or a signature of some sort.
Yes. And that's actually what I'll do. I'm going to try bypassing the standard system and see if I can access logs informing us, number one, when the security system was turned off, if it was turned off, and number two, if there is anything the house sensors have detected, that sort of thing. And also, yes, visitor logs in general, and if there's any staff at the house or people who come and go, that sort of thing.
Yes, and you have a high-class security tablet.
I do.
If I'm not mistaken. Then roll a data gen -1.
No successes.
Alright.
Yes, no successes. I suppose I try and access the files and I just get rejected repeatedly, and I'm like, ugh. Oh, I don't have time to... It's probably take me an hour to get through the system, or at least 20-30 minutes. Never mind, I'm sure it's not that important.
Do you want to stay here and work with it? Because then I can start following the trail, and if we find something, I'll just let you know on the comms.
Alright, well, I'll do it while I'm talking to the Judicator then. Yeah, I'll stay here, you two go and do the tracking.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be safe?
Of course I'm gonna be safe.
Well, they're hardly gonna come back here again, just like this.
How can we be sure?
Well, if they decide to come back again, they're up against a one-man Zenithian badass army, Carlo Salami.
Indeed, and I'm sure if they come for you, Captain, Pick here will do something.
Oh yeah, I'll sling this case in their face.
You worry too much, Captain. At this stage, this place is very secure. Think about it. The sort of people who could have even done this in the first place can't have done it easily. Even for a very skilled organization, this is tricky.
But they did do it. They did get in here and they did this. I motion at in the hallway.
I'll be on the comm. I'll quickly talk to the Judicator, and if there's a problem, I'll give you the code word. Oh no, I'm dying. and you can come and save me.
Fair enough.
Are you going to try to track them?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if there's anything I can track in the remains of this blood trail.
And I would like to help.
Yes. Then you do the observation roll, Farouk, and you do the survival roll.
Okay.
I mutter a silent prayer to the icons as I concentrate on seeing the patterns here. And I get 1 success.
And I start talking Farouk through it and getting into the mode of tracking things down like back in the days, surviving in the jungle and all that. And I, with Farouk's assistance, get 3 successes.
That's great. You are leaving the residence area, leaving the small garden around the residence, and walking actually towards the center of the south part of this district. And you can, with your good roll, you determine that they were dragging at least 2 large, you could say bodies, and one of them is bleeding a lot. But they have tried to cover it with maybe some kind of substance, maybe some kind of, it's not a good cover up, but they have at least tried. They seem to be in a hurry.
Yeah, not surprised. Going through a public space like this, and I'm muttering to myself that it doesn't make sense that this would be just one body actually. See that extra set of tracks there? No, probably two big things they were pulling along with them.
And the tracks leads you towards the center. Then they take a very hard left, and it looks like it leads towards the hull.
So the outer airlocks and stuff.
You don't see any signs of airlocks here, actually.
That's weird. No elevators?
No, but they go in straight towards the side of the hull.
What the hell is this? And I keep following it.
Yeah, and you are entering this. You're leaving the pathway and you enter high grass, a circle of boulders or stone, and a small, you think it's an Sedalian short red tree, and you realize that the tracks are leading behind the tree, and then you realize that this is a vent.
Ooh.
It's one of the ventilation shafts.
Nicely covered. I wondered how this tech was covered up. Here's a shaft. See that, Captain?
Yeah, it's hardly noticeable.
It's a nice trace, though. Nice indeed. Thanks for helping me. I mean,
I'm impressed by your skill. It's just I stand in awe.
well, seems we might have something to go on.
It's just Carlo.
Yes?
Is there any? Could you check if there's any surveillance from outside leading towards the hull from the house?
That's kind of what I'm trying to do, but yep, I'll focus on that, Captain. And
Yeah, but not just from the emissary's residence, but from other outside.
Slightly tricky, but let me see. And from where I am, I might actually try just that, see if I can get into the general security grid from this terminal. Might be a bit trickier, though.
You can roll Datadin roll one more time.
And as I'm doing this and working away and being in this place, I see once again that there's a little bit of a blockade, and I just sort of grip my teeth a little and say, listen, Icons, if you are listening right now, I'm trying to find one of you, right? Come on, give me a hand. And I shall pray to the Icons for a reroll. One success.
You realize when you are trying to access other security stations, surveillance modules, that this resident has been blocked by a data mem, and it's been installed in this terminal. You don't get access to anything from this terminal.
But that could change if I turn this off. Can I deactivate it?
No, you can't. It's hard-coded. You can try, but that with your recent luck, it will take a quite hard data in roll.
Well, let's give it a go.
-2.
Yes, no successes. I simply give it a little prod and realize, nope. And I'll say, no, sorry, Captain, I'm gonna have to try and access that information elsewhere. I can't access it from inside the house. It's actually been blocked off by some sort of security program. It's completely locked off from all other grids.
But you get something out of it. You realize that this is some good mem. It has to be military. You also see some Selosian code in this very consortium code base.
What is Selosian code?
Is code from Salos, the Salos system, and used by maybe faction that are allied with the Parian Order.
You know, it's funny, Captain. Actually, the security in place here is extremely sophisticated. And yet it's not quite fully consortium only. There's almost some Zelos coding in here.
Wouldn't be too surprised if they got their hands in this. Given what they have stated about their concerns about the emissary.
Alright, signing out. I'm going to try calling the Judicator now. Although, wait, have you found anything out there?
Yes. I look at Pig.
Oh, right here? Yeah, Carlo. Someone's been dragging stuff. I'm guessing 2 bodies. Probably the one that was tossed across the yard onto the wall, because I'm guessing that one's dead, and the other, well, possibly the emissary. Unless they were able to somehow just knock the emissary unconscious and lost another man. It's probable too.
Well, that's something good. But where did they drag it to?
It's a vent. I found a vent behind a tree. Very nicely masked.
Interesting. Alright then. I'll be back in a second. Actually, wait. We can all be in the call. And I will joint call us to the coordinates, I assume, or the transmission data, I assume, the Judicator gave us to contact her on.
Are you sure you want to do that? I mean, okay, you can tell him your stuff, or we tell him everything about the house. But I kind of want to explore this without before they. Don't tell him about the vent just yet.
Captain?
I think we should report on the things we are certain of. This far, and maybe see where this leads us before we report any more.
Alright. And I patch in the Judicator.
Do you leave the Emissary residence?
I do. I frown a little and look at this system. It's very impressive, but the truth is I don't have hours. I have minutes. I don't have time to hack through this goddamn security, but... I'm getting really annoyed lately with these sort of things. Maybe I need to upgrade my security tablet. Oh well.
Yeah, as you leave the crime scene of the crime, you realize that the moon, the artificial moon, is starting to lower itself into the artificial lake, and this bluish twilight is casting long shadows over this section, the Habara section. You realize that in maybe a couple of minutes, this place will be swarmed with journalists and the guardsmen. You recall that the Judicator gave you a couple of hours to do the investigation before the Coriolis guard should appear. So you leave the premises behind.
Personal force fields, blocking durablades with books, and hardly any bits of technology in the whole mansion. That could of course indicate that things are even more high-tech than even I am able to recognize. Imagine that. Emissaries pretending to be old school, reading books and stuff, when actually they're sitting on some new secret technology from the edges of the horizon, probably doing some secret deals with the Draconites. Books, as if anyone would want to read from paper. People used to cut themselves on that stuff. Maybe there's some kind of microchip in them. Magnets, perhaps, which when activated can form a shield. Very strange, though somehow it seemed very effective. No blood splatter from the durablade cuts, just the books. Quite the cover too, just having books around. You know, this is my secret shield. I can activate it when I want to, but otherwise they're just books. Book cover. Why is the Emissary fascinated by old stuff from the Portal Wars anyways? Worthless old crap. They've always been up to something. The captain thinks they might want to rebuild the portals to the other horizons. I wonder if they all have powers too. Because as for reasons of the attack, the best I can think of is that this Emissary, posing as the judge, has the same kind of powers as Farouk, Altea and Carlo's sister. These tattooed people found out and he ended up just another one taken away. Or taken down. But what purpose does it serve to kill everyone with powers? It doesn't make sense to me. They're using either the people or their bodies for something. Or maybe they're fighting the emissaries. The secret plot. Damn, I wonder why. And I wonder if they're recruiting. This is Red Moon Roleplaying.
Yeah, as you leave the crime scene of the crime, you realize that the moon, the artificial moon, is starting to lower itself into the artificial lake, and this bluish twilight is casting long shadows over this section, the Habara section. You realize that in maybe a couple of minutes, this place will be swarmed with journalists and the guardsmen. You recall that the Judicator gave you a couple of hours to do the investigation before the Coriolis guard should appear. So you leave the premises behind. You get through to the Judicator,
Carlo?
Judicator Kosha. Pleasure to speak to you again. Carlos Solar here. We've found a few little things for you. One or two things we'd like to follow as well, but we'll tell you more when we have solid information. But for the moment, well, obviously people got in somehow. No idea how. Lot of evidence of a bloodbath. Bullets fired, blood everywhere, although oddly no bodies. And interestingly enough, the last footage from the security cameras before they turn off, that I was able to access anyway, is a certain individual, Judicator Kosha himself, was the last person to visit the residence merely hours before, well, everything went awry. He's also by himself, Judicator, looking nervous. No escorts or security forces anywhere in sight.
This is the information that the other Judicators have extracted from the scene as well. We can also give you the information that we found, the forensic team found blood from 6 different individuals. The biocode says that 5 of them are Selosian.
You don't say. Are you aware that the security systems are currently locked out from the main grid by very sophisticated code, which would have, dare I say, Selosian coding involved?
I didn't realize that. This last biocode is damaged in some way. We cannot really tell. The Selosians appears to be 3 males and 2 females, but the last biocode, we think it's someone from the system of Mira, maybe Oda-san, but in that region.
Well, does that mean anything to you, Judicator? Why would a bunch of people from, well, a bunch of Selosians and this other person want to come here and murder an emissary?
I don't know, maybe the biocode, it's damage from the 6th individual at the scene.
Any chance, and I patch in, that would be the biocode of the emissary themselves?
It definitely could be.
Have you ever had a sample from the emissaries? I could imagine them being a bit secretive about such things.
We don't have any biocode or biodata from the emissaries.
Sounds likely. What else do you actually, if you kinda give us something about the emissaries, would you know any sort of tie between them and these mystical powers that people are talking about?
I should not speculate, but
No, I'm asking what you know.
then I know nothing.
Well, you speculate, we can do too. So you don't know that the emissary has the capability of harnessing such powers then, or something like that?
I have heard that from a reliable source that when the emissary were given observational status at the council, some of the council members said that they felt that the emissary could almost predict the next move of the council, bringing up subjects that they were planned to discuss, but they hadn't told anyone. But the emissary brought them up anyway.
We have some things in the scenes that are hard to explain otherwise. The bullets that had been fired from the hallway seem to have been flying in strange trajectories, somehow evading a possible target standing in front of the mosaic. Probably where they were holding some kind of prayer. We saw signs of incense and other stuff used commonly for prayer. So, if the emissary could somehow use such force, unless they had access to, the kind of technology that would bend. Yeah, that's what happened there. And somehow one person was flung across the lawn into the wall, completely cleaned up afterwards. Well, not completely. We're currently following a possible track of something that could have been removed from the premises.
Oh, not to mention that our friends seem to be very interested in destroying or vandalizing sacred texts and old books, stuff to do with things before the Portal Wars.
That's very interesting. Can you repeat that, Pig? Did you say that you were following some tracks outside the house?
Well, it was just an indication of tracks, really. But it might turn into something. Would you like us to just report as soon as we know?
Yeah. You should probably... Are you still in section 97?
Thereabouts, yeah.
That place will probably crawl with Coriolis guards and journalists in a couple of minutes. You should get going, because I think that you are not as... How should I put it? The common type in those areas.
I'd be happy not to be seen.
To be honest, Judicator, we believe that if we do follow said trail, we'll probably no longer be in this area, so it should be fine.
Good journey, and keep me contacted.
And while this has all been going on, I of course run to catch up with the others.
And you can almost hear the different airlocks open and closes, and you can hear the Coriolis guard asking the bulletin or the freelance journalist to calm down. There's nothing to be seen here. You find Pig and Farouk at the small Sedalian red tree at the far hull of section 97.
Well then, shall we be going down a vent?
Well, this one here. And I point out some of the small tracks around it. Like, if you see around here, it's, quite likely something was pulled down.
Can't we just pull a map on where this leads and, I don't know, go there instead?
Nah, come on. What's some little vent crawling ever do to you?
Not to mention, Farouk, it could be wiser to take this route for now, because I point to all the incoming possible attention. I think it's going to look a little conspicuous if we try leaving the normal way now anyway.
So the press is here, huh?
Yeah, and they already recognized me one time outside of that Aporia. There was this journalist, she was asking if they hadn't seen me. Where was that, Carlo?
No,
yeah.
To do with the marketplace shootout.
Yeah, we didn't tell you about that, Captain, I'm sorry, but there was one.
No, you didn't, but then again, I didn't tell you all I've been through, so... Let's do this, then.
Yep, and I kneel down and I look at the vent. Is it easy to open? Do I need to undo some screws?
You don't, actually, but in a normal case situation, you should probably have to, but someone has done it before you.
Well, someone's made it easy for us. Makes me a bit nervous, actually, and I pull out my torch and I'm gonna take the lead here and hope that I don't run into some kind of booby trap. And I start to be very carefully open it and crawl down.
Hopefully that wasn't their priority when carrying dead bodies.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. They probably think they cleaned every track up anyways.
You pull off the hatch and you look down into the hull of the station, the interiors. You feel the humid air coming towards you. You feel the smell of ozone. And you see down there's ladders, the interior of Coriolis, the belly of the beast.
Wonderful. Well, Pig, lead the way. It's almost like the Gonzales.
Yeah, 10 times better than that. And I start moving downwards, and I'm looking around now because I'm guessing if they cleaned everything on the surface, I'm guessing they wouldn't be so picky about cleaning everything up in a place like this. Is there more prominent blood trails in here?
Yes, there is. There are a very clear blood trail, and if you use your flashlight on your personal communicator, you can see it very clear.
Look at this. I mean, we should probably call in the Judicators already, but I don't know. It just, I just like making ourselves really useful here.
To be honest, I'm not too sure we should trust them fully. So let's...
You hear the drones that are flying over the lake. They have passed the security, Coriolis guard security, and they're starting to circle around the Emissary resident taking photos. You observe one that is floating, and then it turns towards you and starts to zooming in at you.
Quick, close the vent. Get down here. Oh, can you hack it, Carlo? Can you tell it to stop what the fuck it's doing?
Alright, I'll try and do that, and I will quickly try and do a quick security hack from here.
Or erase its memory or something.
I start climbing into the shaft.
Yes.
To be honest, do I think we've got in, because I was climbing down as well, do I think we've got in quickly enough that it probably is only just, like it might not have actually seen us, like it may have just seen the vent?
They could have seen some of you, but you're not sure.
No, you're right, I'm not entirely sure. But there's a funny thing. You see, the faceless one, as he looked down, thought it would be amusing if, actually, that one drone just had a slight little glitch. The last maintenance it had wasn't quite the best. And actually, just in those few seconds in which we were going down, it had a little memory lapse. It recovers quickly, but by that point we're gone. And I'm invoking my Faceless One talent for this session.
Do you follow you're on a ledge, and do you follow the blood trail, Pig?
I start going down to follow the blood trail.
And you follow the ledge, and you can see that the blood trail is going deeper into the hole. You continue follow it. You're climbing down stairs, going into maintenance shafts. You probably go on for this for an hour at least. You hear the humming voices of the machinery. You hear the doom, the heart of the station. You feel the smell of ozone, oil, and you also feel that it's very, very hot, humid in here. You also see some fungus and maybe some other kind of life form that has taken this dark place as its home. Some kind of small parasite. You don't know if it should be here or what it comes from, but it's broadening out like an tumor inside of the Coriolis belly. You can all roll an observation roll.
Nope.
Carlo?
No.
And Farouk didn't do it either, right?
No, sadly.
You don't even notice when it happens, but it happens. You feel like the ledges are trembling, and you notice that there must be something odd here. You see a red light flickers high above you. You realize there's a draft. It's a design from the Coriolis station it's a routine cleaning performance. And you know that this section will be drafted in a couple of minutes, maybe seconds, and it will be a decompression. You should have noticed this. It should be an alarm, but maybe it's off. You see the red light flickers. It could happen any minute now.
Oh,
What do you do?
Kimara, they're gonna flush us out. I look around for some place to get into the side or something. How far down are we now?
You have been here for an hour at least.
Is there no side shaft or anything?
You can try to run, but you don't know how many seconds you got. Either you can try to run and pass a hard dexterity test, or you can try to hunker down and test the force.
Can you hack it to stop doing that?
I don't know if I have time. Do I have time? Probably not if we have only a few seconds. No, I'm just gonna either hold something or run, and I will try and run.
And I'm running as fast as I can.
Well, me too. I'm running after them.
Then you have to pass a -2 dexterity roll.
Crap.
1 success.
1 success.
3 dice. 2 successes.
You run through a small maintenance corridor and get into a security shaft, and then you feel the hull is trembling, and you and it goes on for it feels like an eternity, but it should just be a couple of seconds, and then you hear the heavy hatches boom closing.
Just fall down on my knees.
What is it with us and vents?
Holy crap, that was lucky.
And confined spaces.
How often is it supposed to be doing that? Not often, considering all the fungus growing on the walls.
No, you're probably right. If you're looking out from your security shaft and there are no fungus, no algae left, it seems kind of clean. But also, you will have a hard time finding the blood trail.
No, it's completely squeaky clean, isn't it?
I frown a little. I look around, and I just remark, did somebody know we were in here?
Oh shit. You may be right. That drone, if it saw us.
No, if the drone saw us, Pig, they wouldn't have flushed us out. They'd come to arrest us. Someone else, though. Damn it, I start looking around, like, obviously the place has been really cleaned, but surely there's still some stain from the blood stains rather than the blood itself.
Yes, you can all try. If you're trying to track them again, Pig, you can roll survival, but Carlo and Farouk can help if they succeed their observation rolls.
First I start looking in this security passage that we found, because this place wasn't flushed. If we were that lucky to see if there's anything in here. If I can't, then I'll look in the others.
Carlo, can't you pull some kind of blueprints or schematics? See where this might be leading to, if there's any possible route they've taken.
Well, it's a little hard to do it here, but alright, Captain, I'll try. Hang on, give me a second. I'll try and find any sort of maintenance hatch that I could maybe hook my tablet into, and see if I can use that.
Yeah, in the security shelter, there's a maintenance hatch.
Very well, I'll try and just access a standard schematic of the area. Hopefully that's not too restricted, because you'd think the technicians would need one when they're down here.
No, actually, it's not. You can download a blueprint with no road.
Excellent. I start doing so, and then immediately start tracing where we are, and then the next nearest exit or exits that are here from this location at least.
Actually, you find that you have been climbing down, not up. It's quite hard to tell. And you think that you are quite close to the center.
Excellent. And where's the nearest exit from here?
You'd have to climb down, maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
All right, Captain. Seems to me the next nearest exit would be 10 to 15 minutes further down. Whether or not that's where they left, it's hard to tell, but you'd think they'd want to leave quickly from a ventilation system like this.
If the flushing of the system is automatic, we probably have at least 1 hour, maybe even 2, before that happens again. Or even more time. So.
I'd say the way that fungi had been growing before, that this doesn't happen more than at least once a segment.
I'm not too sure about that. I'm no botanist or whoever it is that looks at fungi, but I think some might grow faster than that.
Sure. Well, the blood's all flushed out. I'm starting to look at the walls, trying to see maybe there's some signs. Either there's little traces left now smeared with the fungi, or maybe if they've been carrying other people, maybe there are, I don't know, dents in the walls from if two people had to go. If a person was carrying someone, maybe they were making dents and scratches against it.
You can actually see that some of... you see a ladder that's going down. You quite actually, when you look over Carlo's shoulder, you can see that you are quite close to the core of the Coriolis station. Actually quite close to the Seeker's Garden.
Seeker's Garden, that's interesting. And I look around and I roll my survival roll. Do you guys boost me, or...?
I do not. I rolled no successes.
Sorry, no.
Well, I get 2 successes.
You see still some traces after the attackers, or the suspects, or whatever you want to call them. They seem to climb towards the hatch that Carlo pointed out. But also, when you continue your search, you see, by chance, or maybe by the faith of the icons, somewhere far down in the ventilation shaft, you see something. Just for a moment. It's something that blinks. It could be some common communicator. That
What's that?
reddish bluish.
Did someone leave something behind? And I start moving down towards it, set on finding what it is.
Yes, you have to climb down. It's at least 25 meters, maybe 30. And if you look real close, it looks like a body is laying down there.
Oh, look at this. They decided it wasn't worth carrying them longer.
Excellent. Good work, Pig. And I quickly move forward to see if I can investigate this body.
Yeah, as I said, you have to climb down around 30 meters.
Then I shall do so.
Okay, then I have to ask you to roll a dexterity roll.
Just a straight dexterity roll?
Yes.
And I say, thank you, traveler, for guiding me down here. Thank you, gambler, keeping my eyes open.
Unfortunately, I roll no successes on many dice.
Then you slip. Pig, if you succeed as dexterity roll, you can lunge and grab him when you see that Carlo is starting to slip on the ledges.
I was just closing my eyes for a bit, sending out a prayer, when I hear the sound of something approaching. 2 successes.
2 of your arms grabs Carlo.
Oh crap! I didn't even realize what I was doing.
Ah!
Carlo, what are you... I guide you back to the ladder and hold you close.
Sorry, I slipped on the bloody thing. Look, Alright, you go first then, you go first. Let's get to that body and investigate it.
Right, yeah.
Do you have any rope? Or... some climbing equipment, or...
I just have my tools with me.
Hang on. Stay where you are on the ladder. If you could just sort of give me a hand, lower me down a little, I should be able to make it a bit safer.
Yeah? Okay. Sure.
Just hang on, I'll help steady.
Yeah, you get a +1, Carlo.
Okay.
Excellent.
Grab a hold of my feet, and I'll try to lower you down, and I hold on with my forearms.
And now being supported, I once again try and lower myself, this time a little slower. Clearly I was slightly overambitious just trying to climb down by myself. And I get 4 successes.
The help from your friends really gets you going down, and you climb down and you find it's a man with some kind of form-fitting overall, some kind of black-grey jumpsuit. But when you start to investigate in the body, you realize it's some kind of Kelvar or some kind of body armor as well.
Is it good body armor?
It's quite standard, but it's the fall has broken it. In not the total armor, but.
So this shaft we're in, it's basically a straight down shaft. I'm now at the bottom with this body, and there's nothing else here other than the ladder that goes up.
Yeah, and this man that has either fallen, thrown down, or been dropped has landed on a big ventilation shaft that is behind bars. So beneath him there's a big fan that rotates.
And that light, that communicator, I start looking around, see if I can see where this light was coming from.
Yeah, it is a communicator. When you search the body, you can see that the face is clean shaven, and it has a kayal, a kohl around their eyes, very similar to the Corolian guardsmen that attacked you before.
And so, friends, it seems like one of our friends from the marketplace is now here.
So they are tied together.
Seems so. I begin looking around on his person. Is there anything else on him other than this communicator device and his clothing?
Yeah, you can find a Durablade in his booth.
Well, if you ask me, it seems that maybe the people who are after the Mystics are the ones who also went after the Emissary.
So, is he all bloody and stuff? Is it one of the hurt persons?
Well, he's definitely dead now, Pig, but I give him a look over. Other than obviously dying from the fall, does he have any other wounds on him? I undress him a little, starting to look at, underneath the clothing.
you're not a medic, but you can see that his skull is cracked. You can also feel that a lot of its bones are probably broken. He has probably broken his back when he fell down the shaft.
I'm afraid, Pig, I can't really tell. I mean, obviously, he died from this fall. Otherwise, I don't know. I can't see anything that looks dramatic anyway.
Then I'm guessing it wasn't intended that he was left behind. That's interesting. You know, we should mark this place down and have the Judicators bring this body in. Maybe they'll find something. They don't know, I mean, what I've heard, they had no trace of these people at all before this.
Anyway, time to look at this communicator. I look at the communicator. Is the reason it's blinking because it's been left on?
No, that's it's blinking because its cell have started to deplete.
Right. I'm quickly going to hook up my security tablet and see if I can connect it to the communicator to try and get data from it. Mainly the data of where it was transmitting or where it has transmitted in the past.
Yes, you realize when you grab the communicator, this is high-grade military class. You don't even have to try, but you realize it's scrambled.
Ugh. Does that mean it's not going to be of much use?
Yes, it could, but you have to break the firewall.
I start trying to do so, really hoping I have a bit more luck with this.
Yes, you get one try. After that, you will deplete its cell. But you can try again when you have recharged it.
Alright, so is that a standard data gen roll?
No, it's a -2 data gen roll.
One success.
Yes, you can download some of the scrambled data, and you can see that it has been communicating when you look through the data. You don't take time to look through it all, of course, because you have to dig into the code, but you see that it's been communicating to at least 10 other communicators around the Coriolian station, but it's not connected to the Coriolian network. It connected to another hidden network, sending from actually quite close.
Excellent. Obviously we don't have time to look over all these places, but this could at least give us some locations where we could at least maybe investigate. These people maybe are at those locations. Captain, I've managed to secure some locations from the transmitter. Obviously, whether or not they're actually there is debatable, but it's something, right? They're clearly communicating off the grid. These people have everything. High-tech gear, high-tech technology.
Any chance you can patch us into their networks? Can you copy the code into our own communicators?
I've done that, Pig. Come on.
Haha. So can we listen to them?
We can't listen to them right now in these ventilation systems.
Excellent work, Carlo. Really well. But is there anything else on the body, or should we try to get you up again?
No, to be honest, he's got a Durablade on him and he's a dead body. That's it. They obviously pack light. Again, we're dealing with extreme professionals.
Yeah, if the Parian order is involved in this, well, they have access to technology, so...
Order of the Pariah, that's interesting. Are you gonna keep that Durablade? Otherwise I want it.
Alright, Pig. I'll take the Durablade and pocket it, and then I'll try and get some purchase to hopefully get back to the others.
And you definitely can say when you search the body that this one he was in good physique. Could probably run a marathon and probably do quite a bit of climbing. He was probably trained at a military camp or something.
Yes, all makes sense. I try and get back to the others.
Yes, there's no problem climbing up. You're getting back to the others, and around 25-35 meters on top of you, you see the shaft that you can leave the inside of the hull and enter a square at you think it should be the core of Coriolis. And you also see the blood is leading up the stairs to that special shaft.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the campaign Mercy of the Icons for Coriolis, which is published by Free League. Gamemaster was Adam Palmquist, and we were also joined by Jenny Jungevall. The music was created by AlphaZone and Sabled Sun, and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Please check out cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more of their lovely dark ambient. We also used the official Coriolis soundtrack by Stars on a Black Sea. The sound effects come from the Syrinscape sci-fi player and was used with permission from Syrinscape. With its ease of use, you might want to try it for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon: Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Antxon, Graham Barey, and Doug Thomson for their generous support. We would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost, Call of Cthulhu, and Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay there, as well as binge the rest of Last Voyage of the Ghazali and Emissary Lost. You can also get early and raw access to all of our recordings and hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play some Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that the song leads us to the truth under a great winged shadow.